Alright, everyone take a breath for a second. December is almost here, and whether we like it or not, the window to prepare is getting smaller. Over the past year, throughout 2024 and 2025, we watched inflation tighten its grip. We saw supply chains strain under pressure. Certain products disappeared quietly. Prices crept up slowly at first, and then not so slowly. Those trends didn't just vanish when the calendar flipped to 2026. In many ways, they set the stage for where we are right now. This isn't about panic. It's about paying attention. As we move through January 2026 and look toward February, the reality is simple: food stability is not something to take for granted anymore. You've probably already noticed it. Produce costs more. Canned goods aren't always fully stocked. Certain brands come and go. And yes, we all know the usual pantry advice: beans, pasta. But this list is different. These are the quiet essentials. The overlooked items, the ones that don't seem urgent until they suddenly are. Picture this: fresh meat is limited. Prices spike again. Your regular meals aren't as easy to make. What steps in what keeps your meals balanced, filling, and practical? That's what we're talking about today. Long-lasting, nutrient-dense, surprisingly versatile foods that can quietly become lifelines when options narrow. So if you have a pen nearby, now's a good time to use it. Not because the world is ending, but because smart preparation in January can make February feel a whole lot steadier. Let's get into it. Number 30. Spam. Survival gold hiding in plain sight. Spam has always had a reputation. Some people joke about it, some people overlook it. But history tells a different story. Hormel's iconic canned meat has shown up everywhere, from wartime kitchens to hurricane recovery zones. And there's a reason for that. It lasts. With a shelf life that stretches years, Spam delivers protein, fat, and calories in one compact can. When fresh meat becomes scarce, or simply too expensive, having a reliable protein source matters more than ever. Think about that for a second. In a disruption, protein is usually the first thing people struggle to replace. That's where something simple like Spam earns its place. You can fry it and add eggs, dice it into soups, mix it into rice. Or if you need to, eat it straight from the can. It's not fancy, it's functional. And sometimes functional is exactly what you need. When shelves thin out again, and based on the trends building through 2025, that's not impossible. You'll likely be glad you grabbed a few extra cans. Spam isn't glamorous, but it's dependable. And dependable wins in uncertain times. Number 29. Vinegar. The quiet multitasker. The quiet multitasker. This one surprises a lot of people. Whether it's distilled white vinegar or apple cider vinegar like Bragg's, this isn't just a cooking ingredient. It's a utility tool hiding in your pantry. Vinegar can help preserve food. It can assist with cleaning and surface sanitizing. In certain emergency situations, it can even play a role in basic wound care or food purification practices. Let that sink in. One inexpensive jug, multiple uses, years of shelf stability. Most people don't think about shelf life with Vinegar because it barely changes. Properly stored, it remains effective for years. Picture a moment when cleaning supplies are limited. Or when you're trying to stretch the life of perishable food. That simple bottle in the back of your pantry suddenly becomes far more valuable than it looks. It's not flashy, it's not exciting. But in a tightening economy and an uncertain supply environment in early 2026, versatility is everything, and Vinegar quietly checks that box. Number 28. Powdered milk. The unsung essential. Let's be honest, powdered milk doesn't sound exciting either. But in a real supply squeeze, it becomes a game changer. Brands like Nestle, Nido, and others have refined the taste to closely resemble fresh milk. And when refrigerated dairy becomes expensive, or temporarily scarce, that matters. It's not just for drinking, it goes into coffee, cereal, baking, soups, sauces. One ingredient, dozens of uses. And nutritionally, it delivers calcium, vitamin D, and protein, nutrients your body relies on daily. Especially during stressful periods when maintaining energy and immune strength matters more than ever. Think about the bigger picture. Throughout 2025, dairy prices were volatile. Transportation costs rose, feed costs climbed. Those ripple effects don't disappear overnight. As we move through January 2026, having shelf-stable nutrition in your pantry is simply smart planning. And powdered milk lasts. Properly stored, it outlasts most fresh alternatives by years. When options narrow, something this simple can suddenly feel essential. Number 27. Rolled oats. Whether it's Quaker, Bob's Red Mill, or a store brand, rolled oats are one of the most underrated staples you can have. They're affordable, they're filling, and they store well. But more importantly, they're steady energy. Oats provide complex carbohydrates, fiber, and a modest amount of protein. They don't spike your blood sugar the way many processed breakfast foods do. Instead, they sustain you. Picture a cold morning, limited choices. You need something warm, simple, and satisfying. Oats step in. They can be sweet or savory. Breakfast bowls, oat bread, thickener for soups, even blended into baking recipes to stretch flour supplies. When food budgets tighten, and many households are feeling that pressure now in early 2026, oats quietly become one of the smartest bulk purchases you can make. They don't look dramatic on a shelf. But when you need reliability, they deliver. And that's really the theme here. This isn't about fear, it's about foresight. The economic signals from 2024 and 2025 led us here. January 2026 is about responding wisely, and February is coming quickly. A few thoughtful additions to your pantry now can mean stability later. Not panic buying, not hoarding, just steady practical preparation, so no matter what happens next you're ready. In tough times, oats are far more than just a breakfast food. They're a quiet powerhouse that can stretch your meals and help keep your energy steady throughout the day. Light, long-lasting, nutrient-dense. Rolled oats really are a game changer when you think beyond the usual bowl of oatmeal. Picture this. You're looking at a limited pantry. You want variety, but options feel tight. Oats can be tossed into soups to thicken them, mixed into casseroles to stretch portions, baked into bread, blended into homemade energy bars. They adapt. And when you're relying on shelf-stable foods, that flexibility matters. Oats are packed with fiber, something many survival-style diets lack. Good digestion, steady energy, and overall gut health become even more important when meals are heavier on starch and lighter on fresh produce. Think about that for a second. Affordable, versatile, long shelf life, and genuinely filling. Without oats in your stash, you're missing one of the simplest ways to stay nourished and satisfied. As we move through January 2026 and food budgets remain tight after the price surges of 2024 and 2025, stocking up on oats just makes practical sense. When mealtime comes around, you'll be grateful for something more satisfying than yet another plain bowl of rice. Number 26. Canned chili. Comfort in a can. This is survival comfort food at its finest. Brands like Cornmeal or Wolf may not seem glamorous, but canned chili is essentially a full meal waiting patiently on your shelf. Protein, carbohydrates, fats, flavor all in one can, and it lasts for years. Imagine a cold evening, power outages, limited cooking options. Fresh meat isn't available. Instead of scrambling to piece something together, you heat up a can of chili. Simple, filling, ready. One of the biggest advantages, it's already seasoned. In a real disruption, you may not have access to a full spice rack. You may not have the time or resources to build flavor from scratch. Canned chili solves that problem immediately. After the supply chain disruptions that intensified through 2025 and carried into early 2026, having complete, ready-to-eat meals on hand is more than convenient. It's stabilizing. It's not just food, it's warmth, it's morale. It's relief when you need it most. Number 25. Apple cider vinegar, the upgraded essential. If regular vinegar is practical, apple cider vinegar takes versatility to another level. Organic or conventional, whatever brand you can find, this is one of those items that quietly earns its place in a preparedness plan. Apple cider vinegar contains natural acids and trace nutrients. In challenging times, when fresh food options are limited, small supportive tools like this can feel surprisingly valuable. Sore throat. Some people gargle with diluted vinegar. Looking for a simple daily ritual to support overall wellness? A small spoonful diluted in water has long been a traditional approach for many households. Beyond that, it's a multitasker. Use it to preserve food, enhance recipes, disinfect certain surfaces, even pickle vegetables to extend their shelf life. And here's the key part: it doesn't really expire. Stored properly, it can sit for years and remain effective. In an environment like early 2026, where many families are becoming more conscious of stretching every dollar and every grocery trip, shelf-stable multitaskers are invaluable. It improves bland meals, it supports basic household needs, and it costs very little. That's a strong return on a small investment. Number 24. Dry yeast, the small packet that changes everything. Dry yeast doesn't look like much. It's a small envelope, lightweight, easy to overlook. But in a supply crunch, it becomes one of the most powerful items in your pantry. Red Star, Fleischmann's, or any reliable brand, just make sure you have some. Picture a moment when store shelves are empty of bread. Flour is still available because you stocked up earlier. But without yeast, that flour is limited in what it can become. With yeast, you can bake bread, pizza dough, dinner rolls, even simple flatbreads. You shift from dependency to self-reliance, and that shift matters. Properly stored, especially in the freezer, dry yeast can last months, even years. It becomes your backup plan. Throughout 2024 and 2025, bread prices fluctuated dramatically due to grain costs and transportation issues. As we step into February 2026, there's real value in knowing you can create fresh bread at home if needed. While others are searching for basics, you're pulling warm bread out of your own oven. That little packet may not look important now, but it can turn a simple bag of flour into a lifeline. Number 23. Canned fruit, a sweet safeguard. Think Dole Del Monte, or any reliable brand you find. In emergencies, fresh fruit is often one of the first things to disappear. And when it does, people underestimate what they're losing, especially vitamin C. Vitamin C deficiency isn't just a story from history books. Without enough of it, the body weakens. Gums can bleed, energy drops, the immune system suffers. Let that sink in. By keeping canned peaches, pineapples, pears, or mixed fruit on your shelf, you're preserving both nutrition and a sense of normalcy. And there's another side to this: morale. Picture this: shelves are limited. Meals are repetitive: rice, beans, canned proteins. Then you open a can of sweet peaches. It's a small thing, but small things matter during stressful times. Comfort food isn't just about calories, it's about stability, familiar flavors, a reminder that you prepared wisely. After the agricultural disruptions and weather-related yield issues of 2025, which contributed to tighter fresh produce supplies entering 2026, having shelf-stable fruit simply adds another layer of protection. Nutrition, variety, and just enough sweetness when morale runs low. Sometimes that small boost is what keeps you steady in uncertain times. Packed with vitamins and the simple comfort of something sweet, canned fruit deserves a prime spot in any smart, carefully planned emergency stockpile. Number 22. Grits. Grits might be known as a southern comfort food, but they're also a practical survival staple. Brands like Bob's Red Mill and Quaker offer durable, shelf-stable options that quietly shine when supplies tighten. When food choices become limited, you want something that's easy to cook, filling and capable of delivering steady energy. Grits check those boxes. They're rich in carbohydrates, which means dependable fuel when days are physically or mentally demanding. And properly stored, they can last for years. Think about that for a moment. Years of shelf life. Just add water and heat. A warm, satisfying meal. Picture a chilly evening. You're tired. Plain rice again doesn't sound appealing. Now imagine a steaming bowl of creamy, hearty grits. Add a spoonful of ghee, maybe a bit of canned meat. Suddenly, it's not just survival food, it's comfort. Affordable, versatile, durable. As food prices climbed through 2024 and 2025 and budgets tightened into early 2026, simple filling grains like grits quietly became smarter buys than ever. They don't demand attention on the shelf, but when you need them, they deliver. Number 21. Coconut oil. Coconut oil is often labeled as trendy, but beyond the trend, it's incredibly practical. Choose a brand you trust, ideally organic and unrefined, and you're getting more than just a cooking fat. You're getting versatility in a jar. Coconut oil can last for years without refrigeration. Even after butter or vegetable oil is gone, this jar can still be sitting there ready to use. You can cook with it, bake with it, fry with it. In certain emergency situations, it can even help as a fire starter. And the fat content matters. In a survival scenario, calories are currency. Healthy fats provide sustained energy and help you feel full longer. That becomes especially important when meals are simpler and more repetitive. Beyond the kitchen, coconut oil has long been used as a natural moisturizer for dry skin and, in some cases, as a supportive balm for minor cuts. Think about how valuable that is. One product, multiple purposes. After the supply volatility of 2025 affected cooking oils and household goods alike, having a stable, multi-use item like coconut oil on hand in January and February 2026 just makes sense. Number 20. Bouillon cubes. Small but powerful. Don't overlook these tiny flavor blocks. Bouillon cubes are compact, inexpensive, and surprisingly impactful. They might not look like much, but in a limited food situation, flavor becomes more important than people realize. Imagine eating plain rice, beans, or pasta day after day. Now drop in a bouillon cube. Suddenly you have broth, depth, warmth, something that tastes intentional instead of improvised. Morale matters in challenging times. A meal that tastes good is easier to look forward to. And that psychological lift shouldn't be underestimated. There's also the sodium factor. In physically demanding situations, especially if you're sweating or exerting yourself, electrolyte balance becomes important. Sodium plays a role in that balance. And storage, almost effortless. Bouillon cubes are small. You can store dozens in the space of a single can. They last a long time. They cost very little. When every meal starts to feel repetitive, those little cubes can make the difference between just getting by and actually enjoying what's on your plate. Number 19. Powdered cheese. Let's talk about a morale booster. Powdered cheese. Brands like Kraft Hoosier Hill Farm or Augustin Farms can completely transform simple staples. Plain pasta, rice, dried potatoes. Add powdered cheese, and suddenly it's creamy, flavorful, and comforting. It's not just about taste. Powdered cheese provides fats and calories, both important when options are limited and energy needs to stay consistent. In times of uncertainty, calorie-dense additions help stretch basic ingredients into satisfying meals. Picture this. While someone else is eating plain rice again, you're stirring up a simple homemade mac and cheese from shelf, stable ingredients. That difference matters. And powdered cheese can last for years when properly stored. After the dairy supply swings of 2025 contributed to rising costs, shelf-stable alternatives became far more attractive, moving to 2026 reliable, long-lasting, easy to use. A small scoop can change an entire meal. Number 18. Powdered eggs. If powdered eggs aren't already in your stockpile, this is the moment to consider them. Brands like Augustin Farms and OVEasy offer powdered eggs with shelf lives that can stretch up to 10 years when stored properly. 10 years. Imagine still having access to eggs long after fresh cartons are unavailable or too expensive. Eggs are a complete protein, containing all essential amino acids your body needs. When other protein sources become scarce or costly, as we saw happening throughout 2025, that kind of nutritional reliability becomes extremely valuable in early 2026. Powdered eggs are flexible. Scramble them. Bake them into bread or casseroles. Use them in pancakes or other recipes that call for fresh eggs. They're lightweight, shelf-stable, and dependable. In uncertain times, it's not just about having food, it's about having options. And powdered eggs give you one more layer of stability when fresh groceries aren't guaranteed. With powdered eggs, it's simple. Add water, mix, and cook. No refrigeration, no spoilage. No last-minute scramble to find fresh protein when shelves are empty. They're not just another pantry item, they're a long-term asset. When fresh dairy and meat are hard to find, as we saw happening more frequently through 2025, powdered eggs quietly become one of the most dependable protein sources you can store in 2026. In many ways, they're like having food security in reserve. Number 17. Instant coffee. Now let's talk about something a lot of people underestimate: caffeine. You might think coffee is optional in a crisis, but picture this: long days, high stress, disrupted routines. Fatigue sets in. Morale dips. That morning cup starts to feel less like a luxury and more like a stabilizer. Instant coffee, brands like Folgers or Nescafe, is incredibly practical. It lasts a long time. It doesn't require machines, filters, or complicated equipment, just hot water. That's it. And beyond personal comfort, there's another layer. In tough times, small comforts become valuable trade items. Historically, coffee has always carried weight. When supply chains tightened in 2025 and certain imported goods became less predictable, shelf-stable items like instant coffee gained even more appeal. It's compact, it stores easily, keeps its potency. Sometimes it's not just about calories, it's about clarity, focus, and maintaining a sense of normalcy. Number 16. Canned meats. Canned meats are one of the cornerstones of a serious preparedness pantry. Spam, Keystone canned beef, canned chicken, tuna, sardines. When fresh protein becomes expensive or unavailable, these cans quietly hold the line. This isn't just about convenience. It's about nutrition. Protein supports muscle strength, immune function, energy levels. In stressful periods, like the supply volatility that carried from 2025 into early 2026, reliable protein becomes even more important. And the shelf life, years. You can eat canned meats straight from the can. Mix them into rice, add them to stews, build simple sandwiches with stored bread or crackers. They're versatile, compact, durable. While fresh grocery options fluctuate, canned meats sit patiently in your pantry, ready when you need them. Number 15. Canned vegetables. Skipping vegetables in a crisis isn't just uncomfortable, it can catch up to you. Fresh produce is often the first category to thin out when disruptions hit. We saw weather issues and transportation strain affect produce availability throughout 2025. As we move through 2026, shelf-stable vegetables offer a reliable backup. Green beans, corn, peas, carrots, brands like Green Giant, Del Monte, or store brands. It's less about the label and more about having them. Rice and pasta provide calories, but they don't provide everything. Minerals, fiber, those matter. Picture your meals becoming repetitive and heavy on starch. Adding canned vegetables brings balance back. You can stir them into soups and casseroles, mix them with rice, or eat them as a side dish straight from the can. They store for years. They require minimal preparation, and they protect against nutrient gaps that can quietly weaken you over time. They're not glamorous, but they're foundational. Number 14. Lentils. Let me introduce you to one of the smartest pantry staples you can own: lentils. Small, lightweight, and expensive. Nutrient-dense. Brands like Goya, Bob's Red Mill, or any store variety will do the job. Lentils are packed with protein, fiber, iron, and essential nutrients. And here's what makes them especially practical: they cook faster than most beans. In a situation where fuel might be limited, that matters. Less cooking time means less energy used. You can turn lentils into soups, stews, mix them with rice for a complete balanced meal. They adapt easily to whatever ingredients you have available. They store well for long periods. They cost very little, and nutritionally, they punch far above their weight. While others may struggle with meals that feel draining or incomplete, lentils provide steady fuel and lasting fullness. Number 13. Pasta. Pasta might seem simple, but in a crisis, simple is powerful. Whether it's Barilla Ronzoni or a store-brand, pasta is dependable. Add water and heat and you have a hearty base for a meal. It stores for years when kept dry. It's lightweight, easy to stack, easy to rotate, and it pairs with almost everything on this list: canned meats, powdered cheese, olive oil, canned vegetables. In early 2026, as many households continue adjusting to higher grocery bills that built up through 2024 and 2025, pasta remains one of the most cost-effective calorie sources available. But beyond cost, it's comfort. A bowl of pasta feels familiar, normal, grounding. When meals start feeling repetitive or bland, pasta offers flexibility and a morale boost that shouldn't be underestimated. Number 12. Salt. Salt isn't optional. It's essential. In any emergency supply, salt belongs at the top of your list. Morton sea salt, whatever you can get, just have it. Most people think of salt purely as flavor, and yes, it makes food taste better, but its true value goes far beyond seasoning. Salt is a preservative. It's a vital nutrient, and it plays a foundational role in survival food systems. Think about this for a moment. How would you cure or preserve meat without salt? How long could you tolerate completely bland food before appetite fatigue sets in? Beyond taste, salt helps regulate fluid balance and supports proper electrolyte function, especially important during physical exertion or high-stress situations. And here's what makes it even more powerful: salt doesn't spoil. It can sit in your pantry for decades and remain just as effective as the day you bought it. In early 2026, as many households continue thinking more strategically about self-reliance after the supply instability of the previous 2 years, salt remains one of the simplest and smartest items to stock deeply. It cures meats, seasons meals, can be used in basic salad solutions. It's small, affordable, indispensable. Number 11. Cornmeal. Cornmeal might not be the first thing people grab when preparing for uncertain times, but it deserves serious attention. Brands like Quaker and Indian Head have been trusted for generations, and there's a reason cornmeal has endured in kitchens for centuries. Versatility. Yes, cornbread is the classic option, but cornmeal can also become pancakes, mush fritters, or even tortillas. When you're relying on stored ingredients and a simple heat source, variety becomes essential to avoid food fatigue. Picture weeks of repetitive meals. Now imagine being able to change the texture, flavor, and format of what you're eating with one inexpensive ingredient. Cornmeal also stores well. It's carbohydrate-rich, which means reliable energy when you need it most. As grocery budgets tighten through 2025 and staples fluctuated in price, durable grains like cornmeal quietly prove their value. It's not filler, it's sustenance. And if bread or rice runs low, cornmeal can step in as a backbone ingredient that keeps meals hearty and satisfying. Number 10. Peanut butter. Let's talk about one of the most comforting survival foods available, peanut butter. Jif, Skippy, or a natural brand, what matters most is that it's shelf-stable and calorie-dense. Peanut butter delivers healthy fats and protein in a compact, affordable jar. It spreads on crackers, mixes into oatmeal, blends into sauces, or it can be eaten straight off a spoon when you need a quick energy boost. And sometimes that quick boost makes a real difference. When meals lean heavily on rice and beans, adding peanut butter can change both flavor and nutritional balance. It requires no refrigeration until opened, and it stores well for extended periods. If possible, choosing varieties without added sugar can extend shelf life and improve overall nutrition. As food costs rose steadily from 2020-25 and continue to challenge families in 2026, peanut butter remains one of the most cost-effective calorie sources available. Nutrition and morale in one jar. Number 9. Dried beans. Dried beans are foundational. Whether you choose Goya Bob's Red Mill or bulk varieties, beans are one of the most dependable staples in any long-term food plan. They're rich in protein, high in fiber, loaded with essential minerals. And unlike fresh foods, properly stored dried beans can last for years. Add water, apply heat, and you have a deeply nourishing base for meals. Yes, they require cooking time, but the payoff is significant, both nutritionally and economically. Beans form the core of sustainable diets across cultures for a reason. Combine them with rice and you create a complete protein profile. Add spices or bouillon, and you transform them into something satisfying and energizing. In times when grocery runs become less predictable, as many experienced intermittently throughout 2025, having dried beans on hand creates stability. They're not flashy, but they keep you full, they keep you fueled, and they stretch your pantry further than almost anything else. Number 8. Honey. Let's talk about one of nature's most remarkable survival foods. Honey. Brands like Nature Nate's, Bee Harmony, or even local raw honey all offer the same essential advantage: longevity. Honey has an almost indefinite shelf life. That's not an exaggeration. It may crystallize over time, but gentle warming restores its original consistency. It doesn't spoil. And beyond sweetness, honey provides quick energy through natural sugars. In moments when energy dips or morale feels low, that fast fuel can matter. It also has natural antibacterial properties and has traditionally been used in basic wound care support. Picture adding a spoonful of honey to plain oatmeal, stirring it into tea, mixing it into water for a mild energy lift. Small additions like that can make repetitive meals feel more comforting. After agricultural disruptions and shifting supply patterns in 2025 impacted various sweeteners and specialty products, honey remains one of the most stable, long-lasting options you can store in 2026. It enhances taste, it delivers quick energy, and it can last untouched on your shelf for years. Just one modest jar. With remarkable longevity, packed with antioxidants and natural enzymes, it helps support your immune system when fresh food becomes harder to find. When other sweeteners run out, when quick energy sources are limited, honey becomes a steady fallback. Simple, reliable, long-lasting. Number 7. Dried herbs and spices. Now let's talk about something that doesn't always get labeled as survival food, but absolutely should: dried herbs and spices. Brands like McCormick, Spice Islands, or even bulk store options can completely transform your pantry experience. Because here's the reality: eating plain rice, beans, or pasta every day gets old fast. Flavor fatigue is real. But with a well-stocked spice collection, salt, pepper, garlic powder, paprika, chili powder, basil, oregano, curry powder, you can rotate flavors and completely change the personality of a meal. Picture the difference: plain rice one night, garlic and herb rice the next, spicy chili-infused beans after that. Same base ingredients, completely different experience. And beyond flavor, many herbs and spices offer supportive health properties. Garlic and turmeric are widely recognized for anti-inflammatory benefits. Cinnamon is often associated with blood sugar regulation. Stored properly in a cool, dry place, these small jars can last for years. In early 2026, as more households lean into shelf-stable cooking due to ongoing grocery price pressure that began in 2024 and escalated through 2025, spices become more than flavor enhancers. They become morale protectors. Number 6. Rice. It may seem simple, but rice is one of the most foundational survival staples you can own. Brands like Mahatma, Uncle Ben's, or bulk rice options all serve the same core purpose: affordable, long-lasting, reliable calories. When stored dry, rice can last for years. It's carbohydrate-rich, which means dependable energy during physically or emotionally stressful times. And its versatility is unmatched. Rice pairs with beans, canned meats, vegetables, bouillon, pasta sauce. Even a drizzle of oil and spices can turn it into a satisfying dish. You can boil it, stir it into soups, or build entire meals around it. As food costs continued rising into 2026 following the volatility of the previous 2 years, rice remains one of the most cost-efficient calorie sources available. When other supplies fluctuate, rice stays steady. Number 5. Pasta sauce. This one might not seem essential at first glance, but pasta sauce plays a powerful role in preventing food fatigue. Brands like Ragu or store-brand jarred or canned sauces provide concentrated flavor in an easy-to-store format. A spoonful of sauce can completely change a dish. Plain rice becomes tomato rice. Beans become a rustic stew. Pasta becomes a comforting, familiar meal. Tomato-based sauces also contain vitamin C and antioxidants, adding small nutritional value alongside flavor. And it's not limited to pasta. You can pour it over rice, stir it into soups, mix it with canned vegetables, or even spread it over bread or crackers if that's what you have available. In long-term pantry cooking, flavor variety matters more than people expect. A well-flavored meal keeps spirits higher and reduces burnout. Stored in a cool, dry place, pasta sauce lasts a long time. Small difference. Number 4. Canned fish. At last, let's talk about seafood. Canned sardines, tuna, salmon. Brands like Chicken of the Sea, Starkist, or Wild Planet offer portable, shelf-stable protein with serious nutritional value. Canned fish provides high-quality protein and omega-3 fatty acids, nutrients that support brain health and immune function. When fresh protein becomes expensive or limited, something many families experience during supply fluctuations in 2025, canned fish becomes a dependable alternative. It's ready to eat straight from the can. Mix it with rice. Add it to pasta. Build a quick salad. Make a sandwich if you have bread or crackers available. It stores easily, travels well, lasts for years. When other protein sources are uncertain, canned fish offers stability. Number 3. Dried oranges. This is a unique but highly practical addition to your emergency supplies. Dried oranges deliver vitamin C, dietary fiber, and antioxidants, nutrients that become increasingly important when fresh fruit options are limited. Vitamin C supports immune function and skin health. Fiber aids digestion and helps maintain fullness. Antioxidants help protect cells from damage. And the uses go beyond simple snacking. They're shelf-stable and lightweight, making them easy to store. You can eat them as is to satisfy hunger. Add them to oatmeal for brightness. Drop slices into tea or water for flavor. Chop them into baked goods. Picture the contrast. Weeks of heavy, starchy meals, then a burst of citrus flavor. It's refreshing, it's energizing, it breaks monotony. As produce yields fluctuated in 2025 due to weather patterns and transportation strain, shelf-stable fruit alternatives gained more relevance moving into 2026. Dried oranges are lightweight, nutrient-dense, and a real mood booster when it matters most. It's often the little things that have the biggest impact. Add them to tea, mix into baked treats, or soak them to bring bright citrus flavor back into your cooking. Dried orange slices can also double as simple aromatics. Add them to hot water for fragrance. Use them in potpourri. Even small touches like that can lift the atmosphere during extended power outages or stressful periods. To maximize shelf life, store dried orange slices in airtight containers in a cool, dark place. Properly dried and stored, they can last up to 2 years. Incorporating dried oranges into your emergency pantry doesn't just provide essential nutrients. It adds brightness, variety, and a welcome change of pace when meals start to feel repetitive. Number 2. Shelf-stable almond or soy milk. This one is especially important for anyone who is dairy-free or lactose intolerant. Shelf-stable almond milk or soy milk, brands like Silk, Blue Diamond, or even store labels, are designed to last for months unopened without refrigeration. Think about how valuable that is. If fresh dairy becomes scarce or expensive, as many households experienced intermittently during the supply shifts of 2025, having cartons that sit safely in your pantry offers real peace of mind. They're versatile. Pour them into oatmeal. Use them in baking. Add them to coffee. Drink them straight. Most versions are fortified with calcium and vitamins like D and B12, nutrients that can be harder to maintain when fresh options are limited. And because they remain shelf-stable for months, you don't have to worry about rapid spoilage. A few extra cartons tucked into your pantry can quietly protect your nutrition as we move through early 2026 and continue navigating higher grocery costs and unpredictable supply cycles. Number 1. Crackers. They might not look essential at first glance, but crackers are incredibly practical in a survival situation. They're lightweight, easy to stack, long shelf life, portable, and they fill a surprising gap. Pair them with peanut butter, powdered cheese, canned meats, honey, or eat them on their own for a quick energy boost. After weeks of rice or pasta-based meals, the simple crunch of a cracker can feel like a real treat. They can even stand in for bread when fresh loaves aren't available. Picture grabbing a few crackers with tuna or peanut butter during a stressful day. No cooking required, no complicated prep. Just quick, satisfying calories. In uncertain times, convenience and comfort matter more than we often admit. And that brings us to the full list. These are practical shelf-stable essentials that can help stabilize your pantry as we move through January 2026 and into February. The economic pressures and supply chain strains that built throughout 2024 and 2025 didn't disappear overnight. They shaped the environment we're navigating right now. This isn't about panic, it's about preparation. Stocking thoughtfully. Choosing items that last. Building flexibility into your meals so you're not caught off guard if prices rise again or certain products become harder to find. A well-prepared pantry doesn't just feed your family, it gives you options, confidence, breathing room. If you found this helpful, consider sharing it with friends or family who might benefit from preparing now rather than scrambling later. The more people who plan ahead calmly and wisely, the steadier things feel for everyone. Stay prepared, stay practical, and I'll see you in the next video.